Hello and welcome back to Chess of Blades, and I'm not sure where we're going. We're in the main hall, as far as I know. Because, you know, apparently I didn't bother to trust Franz enough to stay in the room. I really hope my choice from the last part wasn't anything bad. Or somehow avoids us from doing Franz's route, somehow. So I'm on the balcony. A few servants are drifting around with trays of light, delicacies and pastries, and I take a few here and there to cobble together a casual breakfast. While I eat, my thoughts drift idly back to Franz. I wonder what he left my room to go do. Find clues, maybe? Perhaps he's got another lord or lady he's trying to woo. Surely I can't be the only person he treats like that. But he plays around all the time and just drops the object of his affection as soon as he gets bored. Shake my head moodily as I lean against the balcony. Well, it's not any of my business what he does. Just wish he'd stop pretending like I'm special or like he knows me. It's damn distracting. As I slightly grip to myself while observing the well-dressed ladies and gentlemen stroll around below, a small tug comes at my sleeve. Alistair, I'll quickly glance over to my left. It's been a while since we've seen you. Where the hell did you run off to, little girl? To my surprise, there stands Hazel, beaming up brightly at me.
Oh, hello, Hazel. What mischief are you trying to get yourself into today?
That's not very nice. I just saw you come over here and wanted to give you back something you dropped.
Something dropped? Thumbs curl in a hurt pout, shoulders dropping slightly.
Ah, that was rather unnecessary of me, then. Sorry about that. Here. How about you take my pastry?
Is that okay? As if I'd flipped some magical switch, Hazel immediately brightened up, all but bouncing on her toes while giving me an eager nod. I handed her over the fluffy ice strudel. I was originally very excited to eat before that fit brooding ruined my appetite. Brooding. English. Hazel at least looks like she's enjoying it much more than I will. She starts happily munching away. Bit of icing getting on her cheeks.
What about this thing I dropped, though? I don't remember having anything in my pockets.
Oh, right. Here you go, sir. I saw someone put it in your pocket while you were walking around, but it fell out.
Blinking in surprise, I take the small folded piece of paper Hazel hands over to me, picking off the crumbs that fell onto it. Wait, does somehow Franz know we left? Did I put a piece of paper in my pocket? Well, I was a little crowded back by the stairs. Maybe I just thought someone bumped into me. Folded, curiously scanning over the contents. Me tonight alone. Storage room with the king's portrait. I really hope it's Franz. I really hope. I have a warning for you. Ooh. My heart skips a beat. There's no way. Is that the murderer?
Is something wrong, sir? You look a little funny.
How funny. I really hope it's Franz and not the murderer. Watching me with a concerned expression while chewing on the rest of my pastry. Or the pastry. Blah blah blah. Hazel tilts her head curiously.
Ah, no, it's nothing. Just a bit of a strange message, that's all. You didn't happen to see the person who put this in my pocket, did you?
Could you describe
Hazel.
The mother, I assume? Before Hazel can respond to my nervous question, a woman suddenly comes hurrying up to the girl's side, bending down next to her with a slight gasp. She looks older than me, but not quite Silas's age. The lines on her forehead, however, imply a sort of stress and maturity beyond her years.
I told you not to eat sweets after breakfast. And what are you doing out here in the hall?
The woman, whose outfit suggests she's a maid, chides Hazel softly while brushing off the icing on her cheek with one thumb.
But, Mom...
Do we get to tell her that we gave Hazel the dessert? Quickly crumpling the paper in my hand, stuffing it in my pocket, I clear my throat and bow slightly to the maid.
That would be my responsibility, miss. She helped me out a great deal by returning something to me, so I gave her a little treat as a reward. I hope it's not too troubling for you.
The maid, Hazel's mother by the sound of it, looks up to me with widening eyes and glances back to Hazel, who nods happily.
Oh, I see. That's very kind of you, sir. Little Hazel gets into trouble more often than not, but I'm glad that she's doing something helpful now and then, too.
Oh, okay. Good to know she actually does get in trouble. Good to know. Expect it later, I guess. She offers me a relieved smile, although her eyes study my face with another slightly sharper look. Calm down, lady. It's not my fault your little girl thinks I'm her older brother.
I'm Emily, and Hazel here is my daughter. I'm very sorry if she's been bothering you at all. It's just exciting for her to be around so many people at once. I must say, it's a little overwhelming for me too.
Oh, is it like their first time? I nod grimly, very much able to sympathize.
Yes, there's quite a great deal going on here, in more ways than one. I'm glad Hazel's enjoying things here, at least.
Don't you like parties, sir?
Nah.
So many pretty outfits and tasty food and lovely music, and the festival too.
And murder, I add dryly in my mind. Although even without the murder, I feel like I'd still be more than ready to go home at this point. But we have murder.
You're quite right. Speaking of the festival, I think I'll go out and catch some fresh air. Thanks again for your help, Hazel.
You're welcome, sir. Make sure it doesn't fall out of your pockets again.
I hope not. Hazel giggles mischievously, entirely unaware of how ominous a message she brought to me.
Oh, by the way, do you know where I might find the storage rooms? I, just thought I'd pass by them on my tour of the castle, you know.
My clumsy reasoning caused Emily to tilt her head curiously at me, her eyebrows knitting a little. A moment later, though, she offers me a slight puzzled smile, nodding her head.
Yes, sir. They're on the main floor, down the east corridor. You'll find them if you head down the hall a little bit, I'm sure.
Hopefully that doesn't end suspicious to us later. I inwardly breathe a sigh of relief, giving the maid a grateful nod. One day I'll figure out my way around these social blunderings, although it may not be this day.
Enjoy the rest of your morning then, sir. Come, Hazel. Let's go tidy the rooms upstairs.
She doesn't seem too happy
Yes,
about that.
Mum.
Yeah, she doesn't seem happy about cleaning. Feeling slightly guilty for going out to the festival while poor Hazel's stuck inside, I offer the two a wave as we head off in different directions and trot down to the main level. The note in my pocket is begging me to read it again, just to make sure I didn't mistake any of the words. I know I do that sometimes. However, I'm also certain that it has to be tied to the murder case, which, considering how close the message's deliverer got to me, is more than a little unsettling. I'm pretty sure part of me really is sure it's just Franz. If I could catch Hazel again, maybe I can ask her if she saw who it was. There might be a clue there as to the murder that I did to me, but would the actual culprit really dare to approach me if they thought I'd recognize them? It seems like an obvious trap to go meet whoever delivered the note, and yet it might be the only way for me to figure out the orchestrator behind all this. Suppose I could put off the decision until this evening. It's going to weigh on me until then, though. Sighing to myself, I stepped through the castle doors into the outside, heading towards the chattering and energetic crowd surrounding the festival stalls. The weather is undeniably beautiful. Oh shit. The cheerful atmosphere is enough to brighten even my sour mood. Still, to think that among this crowd there could be a murderer. That's enough to ruin just about anyone's enjoyment, I think. How ignorance is bliss. Hopping out of crowd, slowly peer over the customers' heads to glimpse the vendors' wares. Ah, they're masks. Alright, we needed a mask. was going to get one for the masquerade ball. He's got quite the selection. I will treat myself while I'm here. Do we get a pick? So I wind up buying a rather overpriced, but nonetheless magnificent mask. And I'll be going to another masquerade anytime soon, so I might as well make this one count. I was kind of hoping to pick the mask out, whatever. Not that we would know which one would be best for either of the guys. Whatever. Tucking the mask into my coat, I turn around and start wandering towards another stall. Suddenly I see a familiar figure approaching me quickly through the crowd. Arden? Right? Verse features dark hair, a muscular build. There's no mistaking, wait. Verse feature, dark hair. Franz is brown, right? I instantly turn around and try to push my way through the throng of people to escape, gritting my teeth together. Now, he's not the person I want to see right now.
I thought I said not to start running around, kitten. What am I going to do with you?
I mean, we're a kid and we do the fuck we want. So my hand swiftly catches my wrist, and before I could try to pull away, Franz tugs me back towards him.
You'll kindly remember I'm not under some kind of house arrest. Besides, what are you out here for? So much for trying to figure out who the assassin was?
I mutter irritably at Franz as he lets out a chuckle, rubbing his free hand along one side of his stubbled face while shaking his head.
Calm down, calm down. Let's not go saying words like assassin in crowds. But before you start giving me that hurtful stare, you should know I've been looking around for information, not having a fun day playing at the festival.
I mean, if we want to avoid attention, playing around would be a good idea, I think.
But now that you're here, and I figured you'd wander out eventually, we can do some exploration together. Our first couple's outing.
God damn it, Franz. Right, because we haven't gone around with Franz. We only went with Arden. I really hope I suck at remembering people's names, so yeah. So with the dreamy sigh, Franz starts to lead me through the crowd, his hand slipping down from my arm to thread his long finger between my own. While the whole Franz. Sense of defeat sweeps over me and I follow him along somewhat reluctantly. What annoys me most, though, is how at ease I feel now that he's back at my side. It's not like you could really blame me, he's so tall and he has the build of someone who could easily wield a blade or win in hand-to-hand combat. Well, Franz's physique isn't any of my business, but if he so insists on being my de facto bodyguard, it's important that he is not flimsy. I mean, not like you're just
Where are we going? Are you going to win me a prize at one of the booths?
Glance up at him as we stroll along, feeling slightly self-conscious about our conspicuous hand-holding. Even if I protest, I'll probably come up with some ridiculous excuse like, I don't want you running off again. Well, there are worse things to deal with, I suppose.
I thought we'd go see the fights. What if our culprit is actually hiding in plain sight and is blending in as one of the jousters or brawlers? Assassins have to be good fighters, you know.
What happened to... Wait a second. I'm just now remembering the opening cutscene. The fight scene. Sort of. There was like two brawlers, sort. I remember now. That's where we're going, I think. Now I just lost my train of thought. Never mind, forget what I was gonna say. Okay, whatever, we'll continue.
Don't be ridiculous. He'd have to be a madman to try something like that. Now, some of these vendors, they're rather shady.
Is your head screwed on properly, kitten? What kind of vegetable peddler moonlights as an assassin? Death by rotten produce?
We continue bickering about the murderer's hidden identity. Shouldn't they not be saying that stuff out loud? Whatever. As we walk along, our conversation is turning into a contest of who can come up with the most ridiculous theory. Alistair is probably far too light for the gravity of the situation, especially considering how grave a danger Franz led me into thinking I was in yesterday. But it's difficult to stay on edge while we stroll among the lively festival grounds, trading quips. And for the first time since I arrived in this place, I found myself surprisingly at ease. Franz too seems more relaxed than his usual aggressively lewd self. He almost looks rather innocent as he admires the wealth of exotic goods and fanciful wares on display around us. I notice, however, that his gaze frequently flicks about, keeping a watchful eye on our surroundings.
Oi, Franz. I was wondering, have you... Hold on a moment, is that the boy from yesterday?
Who is he? I know who he's referring to, because it's the only boy we've seen. Just as interrupt our banter to ask Franz a question, my eyes are suddenly drawn to a familiar face in the crowd. Alistair, wasn't that his name? Was it? I don't remember his name being mentioned. I could be wrong.
Oh, that one. I'm surprised old Glasses still doesn't have him trapped in his room. Who knows what ungodly things he's probably doing to the poor boy.
She frowns a flat look at his mockingly sympathetic words before glancing back over to the young man, who's slouching by one of the vendors selling savoury foods. Meets my gaze a moment later and abruptly bolts upright, stare at me like a startled deer. Well, he probably thinks I have it out for him because he tangled me up in the whole mess with Linus. Well, I'm not happy about it, but it really wasn't his fault.
Let's go talk to him. He might have some important clues, don't you think?
It's possible, if you can keep him from scampering away first. Give him a friendly smile and a wave, why don't you? That constant glare of yours doesn't excite everyone as much as it does me, you know.
God damn, Franz. You are fucking great. Attempting to follow Franz's advice, I'll ignore his comment. I awkwardly awkwardly waggle my fingers at Alistair. He freezes for a moment, gapping at us with a petrified expression before finally raising a trembling hand to return the gesture. I don't know if he's just that shy or if he's semi-involved in the whole thing. I decide to seize the opportunity to hug Franz over in Alistair's direction, approaching him a little cautiously so that he doesn't decide to bolt. It's like dealing with a feral cat or something, I swear. More cats, great. We get closer, I see he's holding some half-eaten delicacy on a stick, nervously chewing what's probably some of the other half. So who is this kid? Franz and I come to a halt a little distant away from him in a few moments of awkward silence stretching between us. Then clearing my throat, I attempt to fill in the uncomfortable pause with the most cheerful voice I can muster. Which is to say, not very.
Well, enjoying the festival, hmm? Good thing you aren't still caught up in all that awful business from last night, eh?
I don't think we come off from Greyfoot right after. He winces a little when I bring up yesterday's incident. Probably should have waited to mention that all until later. Another sublime display of socialization, Rivian.
Yes, sir. Truth be told, I'm here to avoid someone.
Avoid someone? Alistair swallows, his eyes dripping down to his feet.
Avoid someone? Is Sir Four Eyes stalking you or something?
Franz's tone sounds somewhat more direct than what I was expecting. So we're doing good cop, bad cop, I think. I think that's what's happening. He's impatient with Alistair's tentative way of speaking. Isn't he the one who told me to be more friendly? Yeah, it's because you're the good cop in this situation.
No. It's my guardian. She's going to be in a very bad mood today, I think.
Oh wait, it wasn't... The only girl she mentioned was that one lady. Don't remember her name! We've only seen her once! He usually fiddles with the street food he's holding, looking rather unhappy. I have to say, if his meek way of speech wasn't so annoying, he'd almost be cute in a mousy sort of way.
I see. That's quite a shame. Well, we won't bother you too long, but I wanted to ask you a little more about last night, if you don't mind.
Trying to work my way rather unsubtly back to the main point, I offer him an encouraging nod and attempt to sound a little less aggressive. He shifts a bit uneasily, but doesn't seem as completely closed off as when I first brought it up, so I decide to take the plunge.
About who you saw going into the gardens, besides me, obviously, was there anyone else? People who seemed suspicious or out of the ordinary?
My Franz. I watch him intently as Alistair visibly hesitates, bringing a gaze for a moment. Is he hiding something, or is it just his normal anxious attitude? I can't tell, damn it. Yeah, I can't tell either.
Well, Rivian asked you a question, didn't he? Did you see someone suspicious, or didn't you? Or... surely you're not protecting someone.
No. It's not like that, I swear, sir. I really can't say anything. You have to believe me.
Franz's accusation makes Alistair suddenly tense up, stick of food dropping from his hand, and takes a hasty step backwards. Okay. Grinding my teeth quietly, I elbow Franz in the side, letting out a pointed cough.
No, we're not trying to accuse you of anything. Really, can't we just have a little chat about...
I don't think we really...
It wasn't her. There's no way. Sorry, gotta go.
Her? Again, the only girl that's coming to mind is that one lady. Actually, ooh, what if it is her who orchestrated the whole thing? Ooh, maybe that's why. At the same time, I could be entirely wrong. Before I could so much as get another word out, the wide-eyed Alistair turns on his heel and dashes into the crowd at top speed. I stare in disbelief at his diminishing figure until it disappears into the throng of people. Man, he's surprisingly fast for someone so small.
So was that really necessary? If you had been any more direct with him, he probably would have soiled himself on the spot.
Well, good cop, bad cop. Turning to glare up at Franz, I fold my arms over my chest, expecting a sheepish reaction. What am I doing? But instead, he just smirks slightly back at me, lifting his shoulders in an instant shrug.
Really? I thought it was quite effective. After all, he was so flustered that he practically blurted out who he was trying to protect. Her, is it?
I suppose so. If you hadn't scared him off, we might have gotten a name. The fact that it's a girl doesn't narrow it down a whole lot, does it?
No, it narrows it down enough. I think. The Franz doesn't appear the slightest bit remorseful or even mildly apologetic, so I decide to save my breath, chastising him and just shake my head. I know Greek English.
I think not everything here is what it seems to be, kitten. Let's not forget that we're all playing parts in a much larger game. And sometimes, if you don't attack your opponent while you can, you never get the chance to again.
Rather than elaborating on this statement, he instead reaches out, finger towards my neck. Oh, hello. Tracing the tip horizontally along my throat, the gesture slow enough to be to be as much dangerous as it is suggestive.
Right now, your position's better than you think it is. After all, our enemy believes you have a clue as to who they are. We just have to use that to our advantage.
I don't see how that's an advantage, but okay. The fact that Franz refers to all of this so casually as a game is more unsettling than is reassuring. Sure, I love a good one-on-one every now and then, but not when the stakes are my life. Is this truly what being in court is like? Acts as if it's a normal occurrence.
Well, I sure dampened the mood, didn't I? Don't look so pale. I like you better when you're blushing. Come on, let's continue over to the games.
Fine,
Well, okay then.
Fine.
Still, feeling slightly sobered, words, fellow friends back out into the main crowd, which seems even larger now that's around midday. Our back and forth chatter is little less lively, mostly on my end, as we make our way towards the sandy floored arena that's circled by a thick throng of people. Judging from the loud cheers, some kind of fight is going on currently. I always found combat sports to be a little barbaric and rather critical for nobles, so enthralled with genteel manners. Maybe it's an outlet for their inner human version. I guess it is kind of hypocritical. I guess it is. Yeah. Franz and I push our way towards the side of the ring. Eyes falls on the two men taking wide punches at each other in a sort of hand-to-hand brawl.
Who's that fiery head one? He's positively giant.
Him. He's one of the king's favorites, I think. Doesn't take much to see why. He's built like a brick house.
Franz pauses, casting me a somewhat sharp glance from the corner of his eye.
I hope you're not getting any funny thoughts. He's twice your size, you know. He'd impale you from one end to the other.
How about you just shut up? My head isn't constantly filled with vulgarity, unlike someone I know.
Chuckling smugly, Franz ruffles a hand through my hair, destroying the work I spent on neatly, painstakingly groomed locks. Okay. I purse my lips together and bear the indignity of it, deciding to focus on the two men beating each other up instead.
Do you really believe any of these brawlers could be our assassin? They seem a little too much on the burly side to not be noticed.
I think you're right. That boy would have probably called out one of them as the culprit if he'd seen them going into the gardens. What's a more obvious murderer than one with biceps the size of watermelons?
Well, he thought I was a suspect. So you should take his observations with a grain of salt, you know.
You're plenty suspicious. I'm sure a lot of people interpret your awkwardness as trying to hide something.
Fair enough. Anyways, onto the fight, so a sour expression overtakes my face, but it's difficult to argue with Franz's point. Well, it's not my fault I'm not used to talking to so many people. Is a bit of social fumbling all it takes to be thought of as shady? Does it? Father hates being around crowds as much as I do. He's just so brutally directed that it comes off as straightforwardness, rather than acting suspicious. Nah, I'm not desperate enough to take a page out of his book yet. Maybe I'll hire an etiquette tutor when I get back home. Fall into my musings and practically zone out of the rest of the fight, which continues on for a little while longer. Then when the ginger-haired man squarely knocks out his opponent, does the crowd erupt into cheers. He vigorously strides out the ring with his hands raised.
I could have seen that one coming. Let's ask him if he might know of anyone suspicious.
I don't.
Oh, so watermelon arms. Why not, I suppose?
Sir Watermelon Arms. Great, that's what we're calling him now. Okay. We stop our way through the throng of people, which steadily grows thinner now that there's a break between the fights. Tall brawler is getting the bloody whipped off his getting the blood wiped off his face. Not the blood, goddamn. Cheeks by a clearly flustered young woman. He's probably more than a little intimidated by how his hands are the size of her head. Yeah, he was one of the guys in the cutscene. Or opening cutscene, yeah. Turns to us, however. We approach it, eyeing Franz for a long few moments before his gaze flicks down to me dubiously.
There's something you lads been eating. I dunna take kindly to just being gawped at.
His thickly accented voice bellows out, deep and loud enough that it seemed like it could potentially shake the ground if he were shouting. So all my nervousness attempt to come up with some sort of placating remark. But before I get the chance, Franz suddenly clears his throat.
Have you seen anything out of the ordinary around the castle by chance? We're looking into a little mishap that occurred recently.
I shoot him a sidelong glance. He better not mess things up like he did with Alistair. I have a feeling the results would be a lot worse with this brute too. Getting smashed into a Rivian shade bloodstain on the ground isn't on my list of plans for today.
Out of the ordinary? I've no clue what you damn nobles think's ordinary. But...
He pauses, scratching ponderously as she... a bawdy grin rising to his lips soon after.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning it, I do remember seeing one of the maids scurrying around all anxious like inside the castle last evening, when I was paying a visit to her.
So is it one of the ladies?
I didn't think much of it due to being distracted, but I remember the lass had a pretty face, with big brown eyes and darkish hair on her shoulders. Looked plenty nervous though.
Brown eyes? Like the girl I'm thinking of, did she have brown eyes? I feel like she had, maybe she did, I don't know. So Franz's eyebrows knit together at the man's description and he flicks his gaze thoughtfully to one side. Big brown eyes and dark hair around her shoulders. Doesn't that sound a little like Hazel's mother?
She was on the floor with the guest rooms then. Did you see if she was carrying anything?
Well, I weren't staring at her hands, but I reckon she had some sort of large cloth bundle. Something valuable, most likely. Yet she seemed awfully shaky for just now.
Brawler rates his mountain-like shoulders in a shrug. He seems to be watching us a bit curiously or maybe suspiciously. Perhaps we shouldn't attract any more undue attention by asking people such forthright questions. After all, we don't know who might be working against us.
I see. Well, you've been very helpful, sir. Congratulations on your victory.
Brisk but cordial, Franz offers a nod of thanks, to which the larger fire lets out a snort. They're gonna fight.
You're speaking as if it were an even match. Bah, can't expect you lot to know about real fighting anyways.
Oh, I imagine Franz knows more than enough. He mutters himself in an irritated tone and turns away from us, shaking his head despairingly. Franz, however, seems to have already moved on. He beckons for me to follow him back into the crowd. Okay, he's not that kind of guy. Just go in and fight, whatever. Okay, thought of it much differently now. So I glance between him and dismiss the brawler's back, debating on whether it's worth trying to pry on any more answers out of him. But feeling we've outstayed our welcome, and Franz looks a little impatient. And that's where I'm about to end the video because we're going a little bit over. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more what will happen next, go with the subscribe button to be notified. Got anything to say? Say some in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Comrades,